Yes, good morning viewers. My name is Jessica Nagudi, an educationist and a counselor as well.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Happy to see you on such a Monday.
Oh yeah, we are equally excited to share morning with you, and most of all with all the listeners out there.
How is the weather outside?
Well, we are still appreciative. Even when it's cold, we give glory to God that He sent us those showers.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Today, let's begin with, though it's not on the thingy that we really talked about. Yeah, today in the New Vision we read of a story where teachers are still on payroll, whereas they are not on the list. Like they're not teaching, but they are. Should we call them ghost teachers? Yes. What is happening?
That is very true. And actually, 2 weeks ago, the ministry was causing validation
let's begin
in all the schools to exactly rule out and clean their records. It's very possible that even after COVID, there were those that were on the government payroll, but maybe they got greener pastures and they had to abandon the teaching cause to something else. So in the first months, you may find their salaries still coming in and maybe they'll still be reflected to be on the payroll, even when in reality, they are not in active practice. But I'm happy that the validation exercise is ongoing. I'm sure it was now concluded. Maybe it could be still ongoing in other regions, but that is purely aiming at cleaning up the records to have now a clean setting.
Yeah. And then, Madam Jessica, we started schools, but we've taken time minus seeing you around. How did the schools begin? Did you begin with counseling? Because my sister was telling me that for us we just began. For us we just began. There was no counseling.
That was quite unfortunate because after a long stay at home, the first thing that we had to do was to counsel. Yes, schools began, but we began with a number of challenges, psychosocial problems. You would find children disoriented, those ones who have outgrown their uniforms, those ones who have grown thin, those ones who have challenges, they have no notes, they have no books. So we personally began with counseling 1 full week, handling different classes, bringing them back to the school environment, though we are still carrying out the counseling. Because truth be said, there were so many challenges that we encountered and we are still encountering. Behavior change, disorientation, some children have lost it, they have no interest. So the best thing would have been to organize counseling sessions. Yes, schools did so, many schools, because I happen to have gone to some schools. I was invited. So those that didn't, maybe they were doing it simultaneously with teaching. But it was very, very imperative that they do the counseling.
Wow. So, Mr. Kyeyune, what is the meaning of this spate of violence in schools? There are 5 schools in Nukunjiri. There are 5 schools that have striked. An example of Nganywa, is it called Nganywa? Was because guests from a neighboring school had been served with meat and posho instead of rice and matoke.
Oh yes, it takes us back to parenting. I told you, whereas we quickly say charity begins at home, but there is one other word we leave out, that even all the evil begins at home. I think there has been a poor upbringing of our children, because it should begin at home, where children are taught to appreciate every little thing available. The moment we lose it out right from the home setting, you find children expected to eat meat and what is available is beans, and you find they are all already striking, and the father is either corrupting them to accept what is available or convincing them to take the beans. When they get back to school, on a day they are expecting to have meat only to find beans available, they'll still forget reasoning and then take the law in their hands and turn rowdy, which is very, very unfortunate. I think we should groom our children with this other mind of appreciating the little that is available. So, not only over meals, but over every other detail. you find a child has not been given a pen or pocket money and is already thinking of other dubious means of getting the same.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it should have been appreciate what you want will come maybe at the right time. But now, back to the strikes in schools. I think the effects of COVID, we can't rule it out. It has greatly affected the behaviors of our children. They came back with totally a different setting. Maybe that is where now the program Madam Jessica was emphasizing of counseling becomes very key, because most of these children needed to be taken through guidance and counseling to make them appreciate that whereas you have lived through those hard lives, but there is life at the end of the day. We are now back in school. Let us appreciate this. But children in many of the schools came back when they were very, very unruly. And then maybe the school managers, every time we have such strikes, I think it's a wake-up call. How often do we listen to children? Because the truth is, every time children stray, there is a point. And maybe this point was just not accidental, sudden. It could have just been piling and boiling over time. Many times we lose out on listening. I've always advised school administrators, you must on a weekly basis have class days. You say this week we are meeting senior ones. Find out what challenges they are meeting. The other week we are meeting senior twos. If you do regular listening and attending to children's concern, trust me, you can't easily have such strikes. Even if they are to happen, you can easily avert it early enough. I think the communication gap is now a very serious cause in most of these strikes. Oh, yes.
So, Madam Nagudi, how do we revamp the communication bit, like talking to students? Because I think some school administration, they are so adamant to communicate with kids or students. I don't know what's the problem.
Yeah, it is true. Communication is very key, whether at school, at home, at work, communication. Once there is a communication gap, definitely there is going to be a problem. Therefore, as schools, we have different stakeholders within school. We have the prefects, we have the class teachers, we have the teachers themselves and the administrators. So I think all this should come up with a way of being open and allowing, like he said, allowing children to be listened to. You know, sometimes we undermine children's communication. But I want to tell you this, once the administration is not in touch with the children, such things happen. For example, our administration requires that we deal with the prefects. They are the ones who feed us with information. Then the prefects deal with the students, because they are also students. So we really need to bridge the gap. All the stakeholders involved, so as to avert these problems. And two, when you hear about something, never underrate a statement, never underrate a scenario. If you suspect that something is going to happen, don't imagine it won't happen. At least find a way of talking to students on assembly and address some of these problems immediately. For example, if they don't have a teacher, certain teachers left, address them. Tell them we are looking for a better teacher, we are going to get you a better teacher. If it's food, address them and tell them today, we are supposed to have meat today, but we are going to have beans because of ABCD. No child will strike. So that communication gap, yes, some school administrators imagine they are all knowing, they are all right. That is where the problem comes in. Yeah, when they really, really don't bridge that gap. But these children, they are human beings. They understand. They want to be listened to. But the moment you start using force, you impose yourself on children, definitely you're going to find them a challenge.
Yeah. And then, Kyeyune, don't you think that all these things happening it's because school administration and teachers are focusing more on education and teaching and what, instead of maybe seeing other things?
Yeah, that is very true. Because of this competition in schools, we are all looking at results. Because
Academics.
at the end of the day, the question you have to answer is how many first grades, how many went to government, or rather on government sponsorship. But then we are losing it out that the word school, as I've always emphasized, is a bold word, very broad, that whole sense should be social behavior. How do we socialize? Character, humbleness, authority. I mean, there are so many core values within this word school. So when one is at school, I think they should be taken through a vast training, kind of workshop. It should not only focus on academics, only classroom content, but even the day-to-day life behavior and conduct. That is where counseling becomes very key. That every after a given interval, bring in people, maybe our nature, or even various stakeholders from different walks of lives to talk about different issues, so that someone grows as an upright, with, of course we are calling it holistic education.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate in schools we no longer have holistic education. We are only on content in class. When teachers go to class, we have always advised, spare a minute or two, talk to children. By the way, my simple address of 10 minutes to children before I begin my lesson can avert a would-be strike. Because maybe I'm showing them the dangers of what happens when you are chased out of school because of misbehavior. Only that can change minds of around 10 students who maybe were planning to stray. So I call upon teachers out there, before you begin the lesson. Actually, this is how personal I do it.
Yeah.
I tell them every time I'm in class, there should be some point to carry home that will help you in the day-to-day running of life. Not necessarily the content I teach.
Yeah.
What else are you borrowing from me that is building you into an intellectual? So we are calling upon teachers and school managers, let's continuously talk to the children. The unfortunate bit, Brenda, is that parents don't have time to talk to the children. Teachers don't have time to talk to the children. Children are growing by accident. That is why we're having all these deviant behaviors. It's very regrettable.
So who is to blame, Madam Nagudi? Who is to blame on this part?
I would say we are all to blame, because we are all stakeholders, parents, teachers, and the children. Now, the biggest percentage goes to the oldest people, that is the parents and the teachers. Now, normally in raising children, as a parent, you are a teacher, you are a mother, you are a father, and above all, you are the government at home. So charity begins at home. If this child comes from home and is not well nurtured, definitely when they come to school and find another group that is not nurtured and they are thinking the same way, then too, if children are not brought up well, they will try to discover, what if I do this? You know, we are raising discontented children right away from at home. They are discontented. So who is to blame? We are all to blame, especially for us who raise the children. The teachers, as you said, time is for books. You are rushing to finish the syllabus. I'm telling you, there is madness in schools right now.
Yeah, true.
Because we lost time. We are teaching like crazy. Now, a child has a challenge. You find out that this child has no one to talk to. Two, we are not available as teachers. Just like at home, parents are not available. We are all looking for money. Teachers are looking for finishing the syllabus on time, preparing for exams. Parents are looking for money to clear school fees. The child is left in the dark. So they start discovering, if I'm angry, what do I do?
Others are left with the maids.
Those are children of maids. I always call them children of maids. You will leave people at home who can't even take charge. They don't know how to direct the children. For them, they're just doing their work. So at the end of it all, I think the biggest blame goes to the parents who raise the children at home, and then to the teachers who may not have time to talk to the children, but rather have time for academics. Why? Because we are all looking at getting good grades, we are looking at good papers, but what kind of a person are you raising psychologically? So the children are psychologically sick. The children need direction. So they need somebody to talk to. Therefore, as he said, teachers, I think we have more time with these children. We have them 8 months in a year. Let's take the responsibility of guiding them. Because if they are not raised well, tomorrow we are going to raise a very bad,
rotten generation.
A rotten generation. You will find them corrupt. You'll find them using force in everything that they want. If they don't get it well, they use force. So we need to nurture them. And parents, when children come back home, please, 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 every time you're with your children, spare some time. Talk to them. Even if they're just 2 minutes, talk to the children.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are the ones to blame if they don't grow up well. Poor upbringing.
Wow. So let's look at the cycle. What is everyone's role? Let's begin with the parents and then go to the teachers and then go to the students. Yeah.
Oh, yes. When you say the role of every category. We may not have.
We look at the cycle.
We may not have specific roles. When I look at the teachers and the parents, and this has always been my gospel, we are one. We are all parents. You produce your children. You are doing all it takes. You are spending sleepless nights to get fees. You bring the child to school. I am the second parent who is adding the academic value and maybe even so many other core values in life. That's why I've always called upon positive relationship between the parents at home and the parents at school. Actually, at times I don't want to say teachers, because even a parent at home is a teacher. We are all parents. That's why I feel very offended. I feel the pain when parents come to school ready to insult or abuse or fight teachers. Then even when you find teachers are not treating parents in the expected style, I think there should be a very positive relationship and coordination between the parents at home and the parents at school. That's why I still tell teachers, be parents first. That is when you'll do the accurate grooming. Because now the other person at home, yes, has done his or her part. But remember, if we were in the normal run, someone is only home for 1 month, the holiday. The other 3 months, the child is at school. Chances are that we spend with your children more time than you spend with them. So, who should really carry the biggest task? I think the teachers have a bigger role to play in upbringing. The only challenge, as Madam is saying, we are now more bent to the academic life. But I think children will not only live by the academic content. They need all the other ingredients that raise or that bring up an accurate human being. So we all have that duty. We all have the mandate to raise the children that we would love to have tomorrow. Because you as a parent at home, I always tell you, you are raising, if you have a girl child, you are raising someone's mother, you're raising someone's wife. So groom your child into the mother you would love to see tomorrow, into the wife you would love to meet. As you're raising the boy child, you're raising someone's father and someone's husband. So look at those core aspects. But then you teachers, when you are not handling those children right, these are the very children who are later going to treat your children when they become doctors. They are the ones that are going to become teachers at a later stage and teach your own children. So look at that cycle, how we need one another. Now when we come to the children, these are our children. Yes, we agree. They also have their rights. They are also normal human beings growing with feelings. And by the way, for them, they're even more sensitive. Brenda, when I tell you, you are silly, you will take it perhaps lightly. You may not give it a lot of emotional attachment. But that little child, every other little word you say carries heavy sense. That's why Madam was saying that we don't listen to the children. Yet to them, there is nothing small. Every other small thing means a lot to them. That's why they quickly break into strides. So I think as we are raising the children, we should equally be sympathetic and empathetic, especially with what they are going through, more so after this COVID experience. So we just share similar roles. The only difference is that as the parent is looking for fees, me, I'm in charge of the academic concern. But when it comes to the manners that should be imparted in the children, we play the same roles. We are all parents. Let us all condemn evil. We are only challenged, we are only disappointed with the deviant behaviors of some parents when addressing teachers, and maybe the way some teachers treat parents, yet we are all the same. Oh yes.
So, Madam Nagudi, some students here, when we look at the relationship, we know that every student is not groomed in the same way others is groomed. Others have been brought up in broken homes. Others, like they have succumbed a lot of stuff. So, how do you give quality time to every student? You know that this student has succumbed a lot of things at home, even when they have not opened up to you.
Okay, thank you so much. As a teacher, a trained teacher, first of all, we study behavioral change. At university, we study psychology. Why do we study psychology? You are able to identify a challenge even when somebody has not talked to you. You must be in touch with your children. When you're teaching them, you will definitely realize that so and so is not okay. If Brenda has been jolly throughout, why is it that today she's not happy? if Brenda has been participating in class, why is it that today she's withdrawn? You start observing children. As you're busy teaching them how to pass, how to do this, you observe child after child in class. That's why we have smaller classes. You attend to them equally. But sometimes the challenge we have is that you may try to address a child and the child is not opening up. But let me tell you, it is easy to notice a child who has a challenge. They may not tell you, but you empower the children, empower the friends around them. Personally, sometimes I get concerns from other children. Tell you so and so, this time this person needs to be talked to. Even when they have not come to you, say, this person is not behaving well. This person is having a challenge. Maybe you call. So there is a way we empower children to open up. If you find a friend who is not well or who has a challenge. Recently, a young girl came to me and told me, wrote me a letter. She's in senior 3 and she was concerned. And she told me, Madam, I don't think I'll come back next term because I don't think my parents will be able to pay school fees. She's a very, very bright girl. Said, is it possible for you to look for a way of helping me? This is a child who is concerned and writes a letter. She doesn't want to talk to me, but she wrote it a letter and brought it on my table. So how do you respond, first of all? So teachers out there, the first thing you have to do is to build a relationship with your children. Let them trust you. Sometimes children don't trust us. You know, sometimes we talk a lot. Someone has told you a health problem or his challenge, then you go and speak it out in the staff room. You see that child there is ABCD. So that one makes the children withdraw and they don't want to tell us anything because we talk a lot. Sometimes, yes, we are talking to seek for help, but also confidentiality.
And the way you bring it out.
The way you bring it out. This is a challenge. When I was studying, I used to see these things. I used to hear teachers, and somehow I was like, oh my God, how do you trust somebody with your secret or with your challenge? Then too, sometimes why they even don't tell us is that when we speak out, they feel embarrassed. And they're like, no. So the other one who has a problem will not come to you. But how do we know, even when the child has not talked? One, empower the children around you. If the person with the challenge can't speak, then a friend will tell you. Then two, be available. Avail yourself. Even if they're just 5 minutes, avail yourself and talk to children. Teachers, please avail yourselves. 3, be approachable. Some of us are too tough. Oh my God. You look at a teacher and you're like, where do I start from? I don't understand mathematics, but the teacher is too tough. I don't understand English, but the madam is too tough. When a child comes, you're like, what is it? Oh my God. And the child cannot speak to you. So somehow, we really need to be available and approachable. You may not have all the time, but at least spare some time. Yes.
Wow. Let's go in for a short break, but we're going to be coming back. Don't go anywhere.
As you think about the Lord just taking over your case and you're no longer in the midst of it, and he says, fear not.
Demons from the mountains, scream and leave.
In the name of
Demons
the Lord.
from the graves, scream and leave in the name of Jesus.
Welcome to Coffee Production Tips, brought to you by Uganda Coffee Development Authority. Uganda Coffee Development Authority is the government agency mandated to promote and oversee the coffee industry as a whole by developing research, facilitating coffee production and productivity, by training farmers on good agricultural practices, controlling the quality and improving the marketing of coffee for the benefit of stakeholders, planting coffee seedlings, mulching, training coffee seedlings, and stamping coffee. Farmers are encouraged to adopt good agricultural practices to get high yields, good prices, and better income from coffee. These tips are brought to you by Uganda Coffee Development Authority.
Water gives life. Water is life.
But not all water is created equal. Refresh yourself with the new quality Nirvana packaged drinking water and fuel you and your passion to go further in life. Visit a shop near you and grab a 250 ml at 400 shillings, 500 ml at 500 shillings, 1.5 liters at 1,500 shillings, or a 20-liter jumbo bottle at 18,000 shillings only. Nirvana is a product of Crown Beverage Limited, the makers of Pepsi products.
Welcome back from that short break. This is Morning Glory, and thank you for watching us from wherever you're watching us from, and thank you for joining in the conversation. There are people who have asked in their question on social media, that is Facebook, and also in case you also want to join the conversation, just go on our social media platforms, that is Facebook, Church of Uganda Family TV, YouTube, Church of Uganda Family TV, and we shall be able to read your question in case you have a question, and I'll be reading you our numbers in case you also want to send us an SMS. Then this one says, thank you for the show. My questions are, what we have all gone through a lot, i.e. teachers and students. Don't you think teachers have to adjust as well as the students? What should be done to help first students?
Oh yes, I imagine when it comes to the question of adjusting, the three categories must adjust. Parents, if they don't adjust their attitude towards teachers and towards educational institutions, we still have challenges. If teachers don't equally accept to calm down and agree that the children they are handling, one, this is a different generation.
Yeah.
There are things you must just accept to be very flexible about. Two, these children have undergone a challenge or a very big trial moment that none of us has ever tested. The 2 years of COVID, whatever experience those children faced, none of us ever tested that. So we must appreciate that, step number one. But when you see some of the deviant behaviors among the children, let us react professionally. Not everything calls for expulsion, caning, abusing. That's why my preaching remains, teachers must be parents. The moment you're handling a case, the first question you should have in your mind, if this was my child, how would I have treated it? The moment you begin looking at, if this was someone else's child, then you're not going to address it accurately. First, imagine, first own that child. This is my child. She has been caught taking drugs. How do I help my child? Do I cane to kill? Do I just throw the child out of school? So the question of adjustment should be on either sides. The challenges we are having, parents are not empowering us to help them groom.
How?
They want to own the grooming. Yet they have just proved it after the 2 years COVID time that they can't do the grooming. Actually, by the time schools reopened, every person was now only praying, let schools open, children get back to school. We are tired. A clear sign that children can only be kept in the line if they are in school. Now, every time there is a challenge at school, I call upon parents, don't come with this mind of abusing, ready to fight teachers, because you are fighting a fellow parent who is helping you groom the child in your absence. So we should all address problems as they arise maturely with utmost respect. The children are very flexible and ready to adjust if we allow them chance. And there is the only way children can ever adjust is continuously talking to them. The Bible is very clear that children at that age, they are meant to misbehave because they are young. They are in fact, if they don't misbehave, then they are not normal. It's like finding your child has broken a glass. You bought the child a toy, and after using it for an hour, 2 breaks it, and you want to cane the child.
To open it to see what
The child must spoil. A normal child must discover, because as they are growing, you must see that element, yearning to discover. So being at school, making noise, shouting, doing this, there is what we call normal indiscipline. What would be the abnormal is maybe a child having sex with another child in a toilet. That is a little weird. Finding a child taking drugs, that is funny. But sometimes you need to dig deeper. Where did this habit begin from? Where did this child learn it from? By the way, you can still help the child jump out of that vice. So children are very ready to be flexible if we continuously talk to them, if we allow them room to expose rather, or to open up what the challenges they're going through. Trust me, we can help them adjust into the children we want to have tomorrow.
Yeah, so Madam Nagudi, you're going to talk about the teachers. Yeah, to help them adjust. We know we've gone through a lot. Right now, teachers are very like they're rushing to keep up with the syllabus. So they are more focusing on education and academics instead of giving quality time to students.
Thank you. Quality time, yes, we are giving quality time to children in form of teaching them. We teach in, we teach in weird hours. We are adjusting. We are teaching in a weird way. You must cover work for the other year, and then you have to cover work for this year. But out there, I know teachers are listening to us. I want to request, dear teachers out there, that while you're pumping that content in the head, is it really entering the head, or it is just passing by? Because before you start teaching, find out the status, the social, the psychological status of your children. Like, we are trying, the truth is this term here, we are doing so many things at the same time. We are trying to bring back children to the reading and studying environment. We are trying to talk to them to come out of the situation they were in. Though some of us are so much into teaching, and give knowledge. At the end of the day, you give your test and the child gets a 0. Where is the problem? I still insist, let us bridge the gap between the students and the teachers. Be a parent, avail yourself. Have, I call it a 5-minute talk, 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes, every time you notice something is not right in class, talk about it. You may not necessarily identify the person, but you may see that somehow, somewhere, the class is deviating a little bit. It doesn't hurt. If you get 5 minutes and tell them, you know what, this is a Monday, what is the theme of the week? Me, I normally have themes. I'll tell them today, this week, we have what we call positivity. What is positivity? How are you going to run the week? You know, before we produce children who have a first grade, let us look at the future of this child. Besides books, there is life beyond books. There is life beyond class. There is life even when a person fails the academics. So as teachers, we must be all-round so that we can produce an all-round citizen tomorrow. We must give what we call holistic education. So dear teachers out there, I know we are rushing with the syllabus, we don't have time, we are looking for first grades and etc.
Yeah.
You may get the first grade, but when you have produced a person who is not learned, you are educated but not learned. Those are people you find tomorrow, they can't even help themselves. Okay? What are the skills you're giving these children? You people talking to children yields a lot. Even when a person is about to fail an exam, or when a person doesn't like your subject, and you talk to them, it yields. You will find, you will discover so many things about this child, besides them being bright. And you can find these so-called geniuses, these very bright students, having challenges as well.
Yeah.
So as we are pumping, giving the content and trying to address the syllabus. I know in October, senior fours are sitting or they are writing their exams. In November, senior sixes are writing their exams. The truth is the senior sixes we have right now are senior fives. The senior fours we have right now are senior threes. But we are trying to, to beat up. However, have time. Even if they're just 5 minutes. So dear teachers, please out there, have a minute with your child. Because
and it could be true, maybe to just add on, that not every teacher is talented or skilled to talk and impart extra knowledge and experience among the learners. Invite us. We are willing to come and offer services so that we help one another.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And another thing, what I witnessed when I was still in school, I thought, because it was Women's Day last week, so I thought that some teachers are responsible to bring down students in such a way that, like a scenario when I was contesting for head prefect, I was in Form 3. So I wanted to contest for for head prefect. The camera guy is laughing at me.
And you were discouraged?
I was contesting and then some teachers like called me and they're like, you know what, Brenda, you're a lady, leave these things to men who are in Form 5.
Maybe let me comment about that.
Yes.
Wow. We bring down children.
Yes.
Instead of nurturing them into what they would love to be. I love girls who are go-getters. Me, I love girls who try out. Dear members out there, let us empower these children. It is not written anywhere that this post is supposed to be for men. I know some people are going to say, now women emancipation. Yes, because out there, women are doing work that is supposedly meant for men. So we are all equal. We are given equal opportunities. Allow the children to exercise their potential while at school. You can be a head prefect when you're a lady. I have seen presidents who are ladies. So it is at school where you can try out what you will be in the future, especially when it comes to politics. Me, I love politics a lot, In school, I really feel good when I see a girl child participating in such ventures, because these are tomorrow's future leaders, and if we don't train them right now and we bring them down, it is common. Some of us at school, we really discourage. You said, but now like that person discouraged you. Maybe you would be now the prime minister, So
and even there were women teachers who were discouraged.
Do you know what causes that, Brenda? Do you know what causes that?
I don't know what. Even up to now, I still remember. But however, I talked to my mother, and my mother was like, "You go."
Inferiority complex. When some of us were being raised, the past generation, I wouldn't say my generation, because in my generation, my parents encouraged me to go into leadership. So I think in the past generation, women were inferior. They were supposed to be meant for kitchen, bearing children, cooking food, and that's all. We are not supposed to speak in public. But the generation we have right now, women emancipation, we are all equal. The only difference we have is that the men will put on the trousers throughout, but I will put on a trouser and I'll put on a skirt. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So the generation we are in encourages people to speak for themselves. Freedom of expression, leadership positions. Teachers out there, if you want to see this country grow, empower girl children, because when you empower a girl, then you have built a nation.
Yeah, why I asked that, because I remember, I think, it was like last week where there was a girl child, I think, who followed me up and was like, Brenda, whenever I come up to speak in class, like whenever I see something, like I can see a teacher like doing something wrong, maybe geography, and I know the right answer, and then I try to tell the teacher that, that answer you've written is not the right answer. So whenever this girl child comes up and corrects the teacher, like, they take them in a bad heart, like they take it in a bad heart. They're saying, okay, I think this child is trying to, is why he's aching. Even they had to take her to disciplinary committee.
Oh yes, we have those challenges in schools where teachers feel they know it all, they never make mistakes, and it gets us back to our cultural upbringing, maybe the African true setting, where we continuously say, Omukulu tasobya, which is very wrong, but I think we should be very flexible. Like when you're teaching, allow, maybe I now support the new curriculum because it is more children-centered than the old curriculum that was teacher-centered, where the teacher is the alpha and the omega. So today it is different. And I would love to encourage, do you know, teachers, you can learn a lot from even children. The moment you allow them participate or even criticize you, by the open room, I always allow them, especially as well building their esteem. That now, it's you guys now to tell me, okay, now tell me my weaknesses. If I was to teach about weaknesses of a given personality, I begin with myself. Tell me my weaknesses. And trust me, those kids will tell you because they are busy assessing you. So I want to encourage teachers to be that flexible. Allow children speak out their views. Okay? Maybe correct them in the right way, not necessarily to discourage them. But I also don't want people to imagine the teachers all the time they are discouraging. By the way, I could be giving you the right advice, only that at that time, with that little brain at that moment, you think it's discouraging. For example, I want to exactly base on your case. Maybe the teacher could have realized that in class, perhaps you were not very strong, and by engaging into this leadership thing, it would even drain the little time you had for your books, or it would even disorganize you, and the teacher, on maybe a positive line, wanted you to concentrate more on your academics. It could have also been true that Brenda was very bright. The teacher realized if Brenda goes into leadership, she will somehow decline. And the teacher now feels concerned that if I allowed Brenda become more so the head prefect, she will now have less time for the academic course, and that will affect her academic scores. And the teacher you find on that ground is discouraging you. It could have been some other intention. Okay? Yes, I don't support discouraging children, especially when they show interest in participating in leadership. Just like Madam said, whatever the child has to do in school, that is what prepares the child for tomorrow. But not that every time a teacher stops you from doing something, he's discouraging you or breaking you or lowering your esteem. I think we just need to dig deeper into the intentions of why the teacher is giving that kind of advice. Yes.
Yeah, and then Madam Nagudi, getting back to strikes, these kids, do you think that sometimes it's the issue of administration? Because first of all, some of them were striking because of welfare. Some of them were striking because they had refused them to watch football match between Man U and Arsenal, stuff like that. Don't you think that the teachers or the administration has not had their concerns?
Yes, the causes of strikes in schools are very many, most of which are administrative or policies that we put. Sometimes our policies are a little rigid, or sometimes our policies are geared towards the best for the children, but the children have a mindset that you are depriving them of their right. Now, for example, children striking because they want to watch Man U and Arsenal. You know, this is a foreign game. These are not even Ugandans.
And sometimes these games are late in the night.
It was late in the night.
So if it is late in the night,
it is hooliganism, poor upbringing of children.
Poor upbringing of children and hooliganism, as he says, or he calls it. Because if the match is at 11 in the night, and the next day you're supposed to be in class, seriously, and you're watching that
By the
match.
way, not every match is supposed to be watched. Now, the challenge, it goes back home, where we allow children. You find parents are sleeping. Children are already in the sitting room. They are watching whatever they want, but parents are in the house, they are sleeping, and you find
some of them have different TVs.
Others even have their TV sets in their bedrooms. I think this is still, we have much given children freedom. That's why if we are not careful, they are going to rule over us. Too much freedom breeds evil. Otherwise, if the match is during day, it's very okay. And you may find that week we have exams or tests which no children will revise and maybe go to sleep, aside that they are very set for tomorrow's program and they want to watch over this. No, that is wrong. There is nowhere it is very okay. By the some schools do it, but at the end of that day, you find girls are seated with boys late in the night, they are watching football.
Yeah.
For you, take this mind that they are watching football, yet what is exactly being done inside? Why schools stop children from watching football at night? There are so many evils that come in the process or under the pretext of watching football. So the moment it goes into past 10, it is not in order to allow children go an extra mile to watch football. At such a time, in any normal school, past 10, children are supposed to go to bed. And that should be the upbringing. Even at home, past this time, we are supposed to be sleeping. Then at this time, you're supposed to be doing this. So what was the school program saying? So I know parents will come and say, it's their right, it's their freedom. It's what? Because of that too much freedom. The moment you give too much freedom, that's why even in a country, we have the constitution. We have rules and regulations. By the way, to check on our too much freedom. Even at home, even God gave us commandments. By the way, this was entirely to check on the too much freedom. Otherwise, just imagine if I had the right and the freedom to kill you. I had the freedom to rape. I'll do whatever you please. I think this wouldn't be a country. Any organized society must have rules governing it. I think these hooligans that were got in this kind of behavior or banning the school, they feel once this is not honored, we should ban. Tomorrow they will ask for something bigger than that. If it's not honored, they want to throw stones. This should totally be condemned in the strict sense.
What could be the repercussions? Maybe for a student who is watching there, that they do not know that after the strikes, they are the people who are supposed to pay for property, and then it goes back to parents because it's them who are paying their school fees at the end of the day.
Yeah, thank you so much. Children who are out there, students who are out there, before you do anything, and actually all of us out there, before we take action or we do anything, let's always look at the consequences of our actions. Because you may take a decision today. I always tell students, today's decisions will become tomorrow's responsibilities. If you strike and you are banning a school because of football, in the first place, who knows you? These guys you're fighting for, Arsenal, these are whites.
And
they don't know you.
End.
And these things are not going to end. Students, there is time for everything. The Bible clearly says that there is time for everything. Time to laugh, time to smile, time to do. Please, let's do the right thing at the right time, in the right place. If you
with
feel,
the right people.
And with the right people. If you feel you want to watch football, then you're not supposed to be in school. Because
go watch enough football when you're done, come to school.
Regulations. So if for you want things done your way, then I don't think you're a student. However, also as schools, there is need for us to sometimes adjust on policies. Some of the policies are too stringent. They are too stringent, and they encroach on the students' rights. Yes, I agree. We grew up in strict homes, strict schools, and etc. But somehow, sometimes you need to adjust a little bit, but not always. Because if you are to adjust always, then the children will take you for granted. Okay, so let us try to balance. If it's a weekend and the football match is during day, allow them to watch once in a while, not every day. By the way, he has talked about too much freedom. If you overshow children that for you you're free, then that's not the right school.
Whatever they want,
to give them. They want, they call it what? Kadanke. Every weekend you give. Then that turns out to be a club, not a school. Okay? However, how do we engage these children? Brenda, for us when we were studying, we were engaged every day. He talked about the new curriculum. I love the new curriculum. It engages children. They are already thinking of this. They are researching here. They are doing this. By the way, I want to thank the person who thought about it. The government, I really, really want to thank whoever sat down and thought of the new curriculum. Yes, at first it looked like a burden to the teachers because we are used to the old curriculum, but where we would go, just talk, and then children write, and then you go out. But this one here engages, and if you're a teacher who doesn't prepare, you can't teach in the new curriculum. You cannot, because you need to be involved, and the children must be involved. So this one, you engage children more. They'll not have time for striking, and it's quite interesting and simple, because if you are to engage them, give them projects, give them assignments, by the time they think of striking, they're already tired. They want to go and sleep. So teachers, administrators out there, let us look at our policies. Let us look at the form of punishments that we give to children, because sometimes even the punishments are the ones that cause challenges in school. Don't over-expel children. Suspensions are not the thing to go. If you feel the child has committed a crime and you want to punish them, begin with internal punishments. You have a bush around, get the child a slash and tell them, today not going to class, you go and slash that bush. By the time he's done, he has, the reserve energy is done. Two, the friends have seen him, so he will stop doing that. Unless when it is, recurring. Then two, involve parents. When you find that a child is deviant, often, if you talk to the child and then you find that this child is not changing, invite a parent, dear teachers and dear administrators out there. Let us involve the parents. Let us have a good relationship. If you feel you can't handle this child, involve a parent. And let me tell you, when you tell a child, I'm calling your parent, you will see them begging, please, 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 because they fear their parents.
Maybe
so
the other thing, Madam, we need to also throw in, you're calling upon administrators to involve the parents. But there is also a challenge with the nature of the parents we have. That's why, by the way, school management is becoming more complicated. Because back then, you'd quickly think of the other alternative of inviting the parent. You sit on a round table and groom your child right. Today, it's a different story. You are calling a parent who seems to even be in support of what the child did. As you're trying to show the parent that this is wrong, the parent does not seem to see any problem, assuming like those kids that ended up banning the school or striking because of football. You now tell the parent this was wrong for the child to yearn for football past this day. The parent sees it to be very normal. After, even at home, they watch football past midnight. What's wrong with a child watching football? And you look at the reasoning of a parent and you feel very defeated. That's why many schools no longer have time to invite parents. You commit such an offense, pack your things and go for the sake of freedom. Otherwise, parents out there, once you're called at school, move in ready to work with the teachers, ready to work with school authorities to raise a child that will bring joy to you, the parent, most of all, and to the nation above all, tomorrow.
Mr. Kyeyune, give us your numbers, give the people who are watching your numbers, that in case they need counselors or people that...
Oh yes, dear listeners, we really thank you so much for keeping yourselves on Family TV, where we do the parenting. I am Kyeyune Andrew. I do active teaching in different schools, and most of all, I do guidance and counseling across all ages, and maybe across most of these educational fields and challenges. In case you need my service, I'm a very flexible guy. I'm a very flexible man, because what pleases me is to raise an upright generation. Feel free to get me on MTN 0776 681566. I'll repeat it. 0776 681566. The other Airtel number is 0706 281566. I'm under Life Empowerment Initiative. We do counseling, especially in schools, capacity building among teachers and administrators, and even marriage counseling and beyond. Counseling is broad. I don't work alone. I work with Madam Jessica among other people in the organization. She can also give you the number.
Thank you so much, dear listeners and those who are watching us. We want to appreciate you for always listening to us and watching our program. My name is Jessica Nagudi, a counselor and a teacher. My number is 0782 760-590. You can call me and we talk Once again, the number is 0782 760 590.
Thank you so much, Madam Nagudi and Mr. Kyeyune. Thank you so much for following us on all our social media platforms, and those ones that have been watching us. Thank you so much. Have yourself a beautiful day and a beautiful morning and a beautiful afternoon, evening, with your families and everything that you're doing. May God bless you in every venture that you're doing this morning. Let's meet again.